Hello everybody, JT Bear here on this rather blustery fall day, so please bear with me if the wind kicks in the middle of anything I happen to be trying to say. I'm just doing a quick update on what's going on in the yard here today, closing down the gnome garden, going to take some advantage of that new shop space I've got, and I'm setting a few things up for an indoor garden this winter, so that should be interesting. Let's just, well, I'll show you what's going on. Finally got that shed floor torn down and built a new compost along the back. Starting to make a little bit of progress here, not much. We found somebody who's going to be able to make advantage of these old bikes that the kids have grown out of, so that's fantastic. I was watching a lot of Rob Bob's wicking pots and IBC totes and barrel garden stuff this morning, and I have to say, I think you have officially sold me on the wicking barrel thing, and I think I see what I did wrong last time I tried to set that up for peppers. So what I'm going to do once I clean up all of this space here, I think once this all gets cleaned up, I'm going to set up a few rows of wicking barrels made out of these totes here. So Rob Bob, if you get a chance to see this, throw down in the comments any advice you've got for me that might apply to converting one of these totes to a wicking bed. Otherwise, you know, I'll show you all when I get around to doing that anyway, but that won't be till spring. And then here we've got what's left of the gnome gardens, some peppers there. That kale I think I'm going to move into the aquaponics. The chives should be okay to winter. I think Carl and Ann should come in this year. Definitely time for them to get a paint job, but they'll come into the shed at least. Might move that sage into the shed or perhaps even in the house. I'm going to try and rescue a few of these peppers. Once again, try and overwinter some peppers. Would be really nice to have some of these next year. Took quite a while for these to produce, but as you can see, that is a mighty sizable pepper. And this plant beside it has a similar one. It's another nice looking pepper on that. So I'd like to save these two, maybe have them, you know, be second year plants next year, get a good start on that growing season, maybe get a few more of these peppers per plant. All of these peppers that were in these little pots here, only one of them actually made it to fully ripe, and it was bright yellow. I ended up using it in a spin dip. You can check that out on the Bear in the Kitchen channel. But it was an amazingly flavorful little pepper, so I've already got all of those guys in the shed needing to be weeded and transplanted, and I'm going to choose the best plants from them to try and take inside. And then I don't know if I should cover this up or what. I don't really have a lot of raised bed garden experience, so feel free to throw your favorite tips and tricks for wintering your raised bed garden in the comments below. I know a few different channels have put up great videos about it lately, but I haven't decided what I'm going to do. Anywho, going to get some work done here, and then I'll get a clip of the plants I'm going to pick from to take inside. Just thought I'd stop and show everybody the size of these root clusters that I'm pulling up here. Not exactly huge. I mean, I'm used to aquaponic tomatoes and stuff when I pull up roots, so maybe I expected too much from that. But all of the peppers that I pulled up, the root mass is of a similar size. I think it's important to stop and show you that because it'll explain what I've chosen to do. Alright, so what I have decided to do is take some of my trusty old coffee cans here. And then I've got some of the rocks and pebbles that I took out of the aquaponic system because they were just too small. And I'm just dumping those in the bottom. I'll pull the leaves out after I get a few handfuls in there. Now that I've got those in, they're going to act as a bit of a reservoir for me. So I'm just putting a light layer of soil on top, again taking out any weeds and leaves and other debris that tend to fall in there. Grab a likely candidate, eye it up. As you can see, those root balls fit in there quite well, and it's going to be wintertime growth, so I don't imagine it's going to get too much bigger than that. Alright, I'll just top it up. That takes two hands, so no camera. And then once that's fairly full, I just kind of press it down. It's all pretty basic, really. And yet I record it because if I do screw something up, I'm hoping somebody will tell me. Alright, so that's packed but not exactly rock hard. Managed to round up a few worms in my adventures, so I'm trying to stick at least one of those into each of these containers. More as I find them. But here we are so far. Wouldn't it be fantastic if these lived through the winter? Now, here's something interesting. Even though the root balls were so small in the ones I pulled out of the gnome garden, there's some extensive root growth on these ones that were in the containers. Interesting indeed. Alright, so got 8 pepper plants there I'm going to try and keep. Got another 4 pepper plants here I'm going to try and keep. And then there's these 2 sage and 4 more peppers that I'd love to try and find room for, but I just don't know. Well, that about wraps it up for what I'm going to have in my indoor garden, aside from some herbs. I'm going to end up starting those from seeds once I find the seed starting tray. A little warming mat, very handy. And I guess that about wraps it up for this video too. Thanks for taking the time to watch, and have yourselves a fantastic day.